Got a hair in my mouth. Right. Today, we're going to be talking about performance and how to take the stress, uncertainty, unpredictability, sometimes frustration even, and disappointment out of the entire process of driving team and organizational performance. And we're going to be discussing the 5 steps needed to build high-performing teams and organizations. Look, we've all been there, right? The truth is that most of us are trying our best. But figuring out people can sometimes feel like knitting fog. You think you have a plan, you try it, it feels good for the short term, but it turns out that it's really hard to get traction and to drive the change that you really need. And so often we think, and honestly, I've been there too, the answer lies in training. And this is where you can be both right and wrong at the same time. So training alone doesn't work. So I'm here not only to transform your thinking, but of course, to show you what you can do if you're wanting to raise the bar by showing you what you need to do to drive performance so that you can win. So today, I want you to get your notepads out. This session's going to be fairly action-packed, going to take you through exactly the approach that's helping my clients win and get the results they're looking for. And I'll be covering a lot of that, a lot of detail around that here today. Now, I've built this presentation on the back of everything that frustrated me over an extensive career in senior leadership roles and based on the work that I now do with clients. So everything I'm learning all the time is being updated and rolled into this presentation. So just out of interest, let me know who here is either currently investing in developing their leaders, their teams, their culture, and who is planning to. So please either drop an investing or planning into the chat. Just take a quick look at that. So we've got a mixed bag. We've got people who, as I probably expected, we often get people that are thinking of investing, but actually don't want to try and avoid some of the pitfalls if they can. And we get people that are currently investing and actually maybe feeling a little bit jaded, or maybe a little bit disappointed with what they're doing and the outcomes they're getting. So when I put this workshop together, I have the same aims that I have with all the workshops that I run. And let me see if we can flip slides. Technical glitches. And right, so the aim of the session to provide you with some guidance and insight into the exact processes you need to follow if you want to transform your approach, help your people get better, develop their skills, drive business outcomes, and importantly, to achieve measurable outcomes from your business investment in your people. And today I'm going to be showing you the path to reducing your stress, increasing your success, and I'm going to share with you everything I've learned and applied with my clients and that is working in 2024 when I master the slide shifting thing. Come on, what's going on? Yeah, so secondly, I'm going to be introducing you to what a leadership and team performance bootcamp is by sharing with you an approach you can take to help you get started, and so that you can gain complete clarity as to the work you need to do if you want to raise the bar in your business. And of course, there's going to be plenty of options to ask questions, so I'll try my best to get to them either at the end or I'll follow up with you. Look, my promise to you will always be to answer every single question. And if I don't get through it in this session, I will get back to you directly. So please fire the questions into the Q&A. Nothing's off limits, and I will promise to get back to you directly if I don't cover them at the end. I'm here to help where I can. Okay, so with no further ado, let us dive in. So with over, it sounds awful, it makes me feel really old, 25 years hands-on experience working for some of the world's biggest businesses. I've worked directly with hundreds of teams and leaders over the years, and worked with and spoken with many commercial leaders, CEOs, HR directors, piecing together the challenges that exist and why getting results has been such a big challenge for leaders and businesses. So let's kick off today looking at what we're seeing by sharing with you the 5 reasons why many businesses are not seeing change that they need when they invest in developing their people. Now, you might feel that you know this, but certainly, I'm covering this off mainly because in reality, if you haven't done this, you need to understand these are the pitfalls and the mistakes that many businesses make. So I'm going to go through them. So first off, many businesses believe one-time events, away days, team builds, or sending their middle managers on a 6-month ILM leadership development program is the answer. And look, it's no one's fault, right? We've just become conditioned to this being the answer. Like, you know, I did it myself. I said that would be my answer. That would have been my solution to the problem in the past. Look, developing people is never a one-time activity, yet for a whole host of reasons we treat it like it is. And the truth is, businesses want change, but what one-time events or series of events or programs create most often only really amounts to a fun day out, some networking opportunities, or at best provides some short-term inspiration, and at best some short-term motivation before the agenda, like, really quickly just goes back to the day job. Nothing changes. And what happens is you fail to create this culture of learning, development, and progressive growth. And when they do focus on developing their people, they're focusing on the wrong people at the wrong time, often only focusing on the top 5% at the expense of creating broader impact. And what this means is that many people are not getting support until way into their leadership career. I know I was 10 years into leading teams before I got any formal development. Too many leaders are leading teams, they're feeling unequipped, they're feeling out of their depth. And even today, a lot of people join my programs and they tell me it's really hard leading teams in the current age. And it leaves many feeling unsupported, undervalued, and not to mention teams working. You've got teams that are working for leaders that are struggling, and all the challenges that creates. And it places the onus solely on the leader and fails to bring up that base standard by better equipping everyone at every level to show up and bring their best. And what many fail to recognize is this opportunity to create a leadership culture, to make everybody accountable for leadership throughout an organization. So what we know is that the best way to maximize performance is to build bottom up, that most lack the skills in self-awareness, self-leadership, influencing and collaborating with others. And this is one of the very common themes across a lot of the people we speak with, and it's the place a lot of our clients start. So the next thing is they're spending their time poring over what the training content or knowledge they need to believe, pouring over the knowledge they believe their people need to acquire in order to reach the next level, which often leads to too much theory, right? And not enough practical application. The challenges I see, too much theory, attendees struggling to recall what they've learned, right? Focus on outdated learning methods, not creating immediate impact on the ground. So, you know, people are spending 12 months on these programs, 6 months, and not seeing any immediate change, all of which leads to disappointment. And then the elephant in the room is that, and this is definitely the one that there are not enough people challenging on, and that is a lack of clear, measurable outcomes or ability to hold leaders to account for taking action. It's like positive attendee feedback has become the benchmark for success when investing in people or culture development. So businesses are battling on with no clear outcomes, no measurements, no accountability, and a lack of demonstrable positive impact on the business. And in the businesses I talk to, it just becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy. When you don't have these things in place, commitment decreases, or even worse, when you haven't got the measures, you haven't got the clear outcomes, the business commitment decreases. Even worse, your investment gets axed. Even though leaders know they need to develop their people. I call it the leadership doom loop, and it is everywhere. And then, of course, there's a lack of sustainability. So businesses get stuck in this loop of relying on high ticket external consultants, when the reality is, for many, there's a lack of long-term goals. There's no structured way of keeping the training alive. There's this reliance on rinse and repeat cycles of training. And businesses that are failing to embed the work they're doing into business as usual processes, and no plan to create culture where leaders are sufficiently empowered to motivate and drive their own team culture and performance, and no plan to build sustainably, so that you can go as a business from high support to self-support. So those are the 5, like very quickly, those are the 5 reasons why businesses are struggling to raise the bar. Whether there's a problem that needs solving, or you're an organization wanting to go from good to great, the challenges are all the same. And this is why so many who are responsible feel stressed and are left feeling that whichever choice they make, it doesn't make the difference that they need. So with that being said, there should be at least one of these that relates to you more than others. So I would love to know, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, which of these do you connect with most? Which one do you feel is holding you back most when it comes to getting the outcomes you want? So please do take part and drop a number, or even more than one number if you like, into the chat. And yeah, so we've got lots of 2s, 4s. But 4s is actually a really, really common one, and that's why you're here, right? But there's a mix, there's a mix of all of them coming through, and some people, actually there's a 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So hopefully I've got lots of stuff to share with you today that will help you to understand how to overcome these challenges. And we'll certainly be spending a lot of our time on 4s and 5s as well. So right, so how do we perform? How do we transform our approach and get results and raise team or organizational performance in 2024 and beyond? Look, the world has changed. We have to change. Business is tough. And we all know, right, that people are key to performance. And so the work we've been doing over the past few years has really helped shape some clarity around how to create change, to finally create a breakthrough and start to get the results you need from your investment in developing your people. I call it the transformation equation. It breaks down the 5 steps to success, exactly what's needed to develop the skills you need, as well as achieving the measurable outcomes, the soft skills, the hard results that we should be expecting and demanding of ourselves and our people. So I'll be sharing everything you need to know to go from training to transformation. We'll be covering clarity, content, change, as well as how to be strategic and how to build sustainable solutions, all with the goal of going from high support to self-support by reducing reliance on external providers. So, and I'll explain why that makes sense. That might sound like a bonkers idea from my point of view, but I'll explain this to you as we go through. So this is the framework I use to really help clients break out of this cycle of doom and start to get the results they're looking for. And this is the content we are going to be covering today. So very quickly, who am I? Now, I'm not going to bore you with a half-hour spiel. You're not here to find out about me. You're here to find out what's getting in the way of transforming your growth and return on investment when you spend time and money in developing your people. But the thing to know is why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I'm Jules Eustace. I'm the creator of Unlock Teams. I'm a partner and certified coach and consultant with US-based leadership and team performance experts, giant worldwide. And I combine my expertise in change and transformation with world-class leadership and team performance coaching that gets measurable results. And the work I do today is against a backdrop of 20 to 25 years, let's keep it loose at that, as a senior change and transformation leader, working for businesses such as Asda, IKEA, Co-op, Holland & Barrett. I was employed until 2014 when I went it alone and set up my own consultancy. I've been a woman in business mentor with Santander for the past 4 years. I've led huge teams to drive change that's resulted in billions in incremental revenue in large complex organizations, and experienced the many but real challenges on the ground, and I can promise you warts and all. Having led large-scale customer change for over 20 years, I learned a thing or two about leadership and performance in some very challenging environments, and I experienced some amazing, as well as, I'll be completely honest with you, some goddamn awful leadership. But ultimately, I got sick of the politics, the positioning, the arguing, infighting, and especially how the work environment made me feel. Wherever I went, I felt it was just the same nonsense, different logo over the door. So I set out to solve the problem. I genuinely believe most people are good people, but so much gets in the way of individuals and businesses and teams delivering to their potential. So I set about bringing my skills as a change leader to help to solve the real problem rather than simply becoming another training provider. Like, honestly, there's some great training out there, but I'd say there's not enough focus on helping create change. And so, look, yeah, I'm passionate about the work I do. I believe we need better skills. I believe businesses need better outcomes. I recognize firsthand the struggles to justify investment when faced with the challenges of a business environment that simply wants commercial results. And what I'm doing here with you is I'm sharing with you what my own experience has shown, as well as what's working right now that's helping clients get the results they're looking for. I'm here to champion change, and I'm here to help you do the same. And the reason I show up like this for free is that some of you might decide at some point in the future that you could do with some help and guidance to get you pointing in the right direction. And at some point you may, some people that show up to these workshops at some point might decide to come and work with me. Some of them do, in fact. So I'm not selling anything here today. So in the interest of transparency, there's going to be no big sales pitch, but right at the end, I will share with you how you can start your journey. And there will be a chance to have a conversation, discuss the challenges specifically within your business, and see if I can help further. That's it. However, there will be more than enough here for you today to be able to understand and take away what you need to do differently if you want to break that cycle and you want to see better results and return on investment from developing your people and start to see change. So why does this matter in 2024? Tell me in the chat, why are you here? Why does this matter to you? And whilst you do, let me get into the meat of it. If you haven't guessed, I am results focused, and you must be too, right? That's why you're here. But before we get started, let's just ask ourselves why this stuff matters in 2024. Why soft skills? Why hard results? Let's take a look at the chat. So yeah, so there's a few things coming through. So Tony, you know you need to invest and it's just painful. Never feeling you can offer any tangible outcomes. It's like we've become to expect it as a norm. Like, you're right, Tony, like we have become to expect it as the norm, and it's frustrating. I feel your pain. And Emily says, yes, it's all about the money, returns, results. That's why you're here. And Siobhan, yeah, we know sustainable business growth is built on great people, teams, and culture. And getting started is a minefield. We can't afford to waste time and money. No, exactly. We can't afford, we haven't got the time, we haven't got the money. We also haven't got the energy, right? So lots more on a similar theme. So sorry, I can't quite get to all of them. So moving on. So what I'm seeing is exactly that, right? So many businesses are wasting time and money. It's the definition of madness. They're not turning the dial. They're relying on one-time events. The content has minimal retention, even less application. And deep down, they know it's hard. And for many, they feel they're wasting their time. And then there's the money. Most business leaders tell me they're under pressure for return on investment. They're finding it hard to point to any metrics that demonstrate results or hold people to account for results. At best, they're just relying on participant feedback to validate a job well done. Investment has to be about driving change, yet so many businesses are not leading with a change management mindset. And of course, this means that your people are suffering. There's been this seismic shift in expectation, right? And there has never been such a big spotlight on leaders and their performance. The leadership landscape has never been more complex. Leaders are trying to be everything to everyone, and it is not working because they are not equipped. Tell me, how long have you been in a leadership role, right? So truth is, we are all working it out. It doesn't matter what level you're at, we're all working it out. And leaders and teams are suffering on so many levels in silence. the upshot is we're starting too late. We're missing out on key stages of development, whether it's self-leadership, delivering through others. And that's even before people get to lead teams. And that's when they find themselves in roles inadequately equipped and struggling. For first-time leaders, it's even worse, transitioning from being a high-performing SME into a leader and trying to hide the struggles they're experiencing. Look, times have changed, attitudes to work have changed, people are struggling. Like, whether you see it or not, this has a cost. This is costing businesses. And so, yes, when people suffer, so does your business. Your people resources are one of the biggest costs to your business. When you don't get the best from your people, it will always impact performance. It might not be visible, but it is there. Ineffective leadership drives suboptimal performance, and it will always limit productivity, always limit efficiency and your ability to achieve your strategic goals. And without the right type of development, businesses are ending up with a talent drain. They're failing to create a strong talent pipeline and failing to create a leadership development culture that helps you keep people, build capability, and create the environment where you unlock what I often refer to as like discretional effort, which is often what's needed to drive growth in incredibly competitive marketplaces. And so I hope this adds just a little bit of context into why what I'm seeing is leading to a need for change. People, right? We're messy things. Does that all make sense so far? Let me know in the chat that you're with me. You're hearing me, you're feeling what I'm sharing with you right now. Brilliant. So now look, this might all sound tough, and it is. And I'm not here to tell you, I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you the truth of exactly what it takes. If you want growth, if you want results, so let's get into how. Okay, so kicking off with part one, you have to get back to basics and focus on the fundamentals that are needed to drive growth. Before you do anything else, we have to start here. And it's right here that many of the businesses I speak with and many of the businesses we work with, and it's why they're failing. When it comes to getting back to basics, there are three big things that we spend a lot of time on with every customer we work with. It's how to set themselves up for success in creating those hard results from their investment. And there are three things typically getting in the way. So one is a lack of clarity. So they don't really have a grip on where they are today. So they don't have the analysis or the data needed to point them in the right direction and make sure they focus where it matters most. Secondly, they aren't scrutinizing training content in the right way. Most content on most programs sounds really great, by the way, but the key is always to ask yourself, how is this going to be applied in real practical terms, i.e., what are we actually going to go away and do? And then thirdly, they aren't considering how to make change land. So what are the processes and the support needed to increase our chances of succeeding? So I'm going to be taking you through each of these three areas. And so when it comes to creating clarity, what we're seeing is this: most businesses have an absence of data. So they are relying on either what people say they need, or they're basing their plan on subjectively what line managers say they need. In reality, look, most leaders don't know. Their input is based on either anecdotal feedback, their own experiences, as well as our biases as to what we believe individually great leadership and team performance really is. And of course, that's changed. Many base it on perhaps what they've done in the past, what they thought was effective, often on outdated views. And so it often leads to the wrong solution for where their business is right now. It leads to generic programs focusing on the wrong things, the wrong people at the wrong time. And all of this is contributing to the lack of results they hope for when developing their people. So if these are the things they're doing, I'm sure you want to know what they're doing about it. So businesses who I've worked with who are transforming their results are starting from a point of clarity, starting with a deep understanding of personality and team dynamics. This business, I'm just sharing with you some of the outputs, some of the business data that we pulled together for some of our clients. This business started by doing the detailed work to understand the strengths and challenges, not just at an organizational level, but at a team level. This client had understood the mistake they'd been making by just focusing on top talent and wanted to drive not only a healthy culture, but one that was really focused hard on driving performance. And in order to do so, they recognized their need to include everyone and build foundational capability, which meant providing the knowledge, the tools, the language to drive self-awareness and a greater understanding of each other. Their goal was to focus on collaboration, culture, inclusion, like valuing and knowing how to bring out the best in others, as well as ensuring they weren't becoming this face-fit organization, but one that used the right people with the right skills to make the right decision across the business. And most often, it's our failure to understand people that leads to most of the challenges that exist in an organization. But this is one that can be addressed with the right knowledge and doing the right work. Now, there's too much possibly to say about this. This is probably a session in its own right that I might well run in September. But there will be a chance to find out more, which I am going to cover later in this session. But what businesses who are transforming their performance are also doing is they're buying into the use of data and a success framework to drive their progress and results. In order to gather data and measure outcomes, our clients are using a high-performing teams framework to understand how to unlock capability, how to progressively unlock capability within their organization. I'm going to explain more about this as we go through. And they're also, and using that framework, they're gathering the data to gain a deep understanding into the strengths and opportunities at an individual team level and at a total organizational level. And what this gives them is a clarity on the individual challenges each their teams was facing, as well as the common challenges that they're seeing across the business. So in gathering the data, it allows them to see the big picture, as well as to focus in on the micro and really look at the quick wins for each team leader within the business, as well as pave a way through to make sure that they're focusing on the right things in the right order. Their success is coming off the back of buying into the use of data and a success framework to identify where to start, to drive their progress, to create accountability, and to track results. So the next thing we need to look at is course content. And what we're seeing over and over again is some great ideas being taught, but not always in ways that are sticky or memorable. So attendees struggle to recall what they've learned. If they're struggling to recall, then implementation is always going to be a problem, which brings about challenges when participants need to create impact or change on the ground. And it's probably one of the key reasons why businesses are not seeing the impact that they hope for when they invest in that development of their people. And look, the way people learn has changed. It's faster, it's much faster, it's more visual, retention levels are lower, ideas need to be simple, pack a punch, and adapt to modern ways of learning. And not enough course content is translating ideas into practical, actionable, implementable ideas for leaders to use personally, directly with their teams or as a collective team, or even in one-to-ones. And too much is being left to chance when there are proven models and actions that, when learned and implemented, quite simply get results. So when your people spend time in training sessions, it's about being really, really clear on what is going to be changed, or what is going to be, what is actually going to change, or what is going to be done differently as a result of that training session. What's making the shifts for clients right now in 2024 is a switch towards using visual tools. Visual tools are a game changer. Visual tools help in that they do what they say. They help create a toolkit for leaders to use depending on the situation, and it should be a toolkit that they're building up over time. And what I'm showing you is a small selection of the tools used in the work we do with clients. Simple ideas such as how to get the best out of people, how to become self-aware, how to understand our impact on others, how to communicate in a way that others understand the real meaning of what we're saying, how to ensure you and your people are performing at their best. And part of any journey, our focus has to be on equipping people with the skills needed to lead effectively in work and in life. And along with visuals comes the introduction of common language. And that's often an area where businesses are falling down, is people's inability to have the right language to be able to have the conversations that they need to have. So support challenge matrix becomes the tool and language to create high performing, healthy culture. Know yourself to lead yourself is a language and framework to identify and manage behavioural tendencies. Provisional plan promise is the language to help understand the intent behind someone's communication. 70-30 balance is a tool to help people bring their best. And of course, the action starts from day one. Tools are introduced to go away and use. So you start to see and feel change from day one, which flows nicely into the last of the 3 areas. So we've covered clarity, we've covered content. And so for the third point on getting back to basics, let's cover our third point, which is change. And so, look, yeah. So change is something that, if I'm completely honest, many leaders hope for, but we're constantly hearing there's often this sense of disappointment that they aren't seeing enough change either after or during the process of developing their people. And the truth is, change only happens when people take action. And the reality is there's not enough action. And what we see is this: there's often too much left to chance. There's often no real clear ask of attendees that will result in change. Like, what do they actually have to go away and do? And I mean tangible stuff on the ground with their team, as a team, that will result in change after each session with clear guidelines and timelines. And of course, an absence of any ask or follow-up, homework, whatever, is there are no lessons are learned. Too much is left to chance. Success happens with time, practice, implementation, through learning, through shared learning, through repeating and going again. And the truth is, many leaders do get stuck and need more support through the learning and implementation phase. And this rarely happens. Training sessions alone, with no action, no follow-up, no lessons learned or support, are a key reason why outcomes and change are not achieved. But what we are really clear on is what works and what gets results. So the success our clients achieve is achieved through having really clear action plans. It's about making sure that when your people attend training, they leave every session with absolute clarity as to what they need to do, both as individuals and as a team, with timelines and clear guidelines to deliver. They need to be equipped with the tools needed to do the work, with no guesswork, just absolute clarity and an ability to go away and do that, make that change. That expectation is there from day one. And we've learned that you can go too quickly as well, forcing your way through a program, but not stopping to ensure it makes a difference and is making a difference, right? So we learned that rotating learning with group coaching sessions, supporting implementation by creating a space specifically for team leaders to share ideas, discuss issues and challenges, and help develop best practice, makes a massive difference. And then providing support when people need it. So leadership is a journey, and providing access through the learning process to be able to ask for support and guidance, or for us to be able to provide encouragement or reminders, but more importantly, to be able to answer questions outside of coaching sessions, as well as maintain focus and momentum. So we use different social tools to be able to do that. So that's a snapshot of the snapshot of the fundamentals of building strong, healthy foundations, the absolute basics needed to start to drive results and return on investment, or hard results, as I like to call them. So lots of thoughts and comments coming through in the chat. Please share any observations or just what you're seeing. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I promise you, I will get back to I'm not going to be able to cover all these questions for sure, but I will get back to you at the end if I can cover some of them, and or directly, as I said at the beginning, if you raise any questions, I will get back to you personally directly. Okay, so we are now going to move on to talk about the next stage, but before we do, let me just take you through a quick recap. So you're here because you want results. So here are my top tips to help you get them. I'm just going to take a quick slurp of my coffee to keep me going. So here are my top tips. So firstly, getting back to basics is key. So focusing only on those at the top is like trying to ice a cake that hasn't yet been baked. And yet it's the approach so many take. The best results are coming from teams and businesses who are equipping everyone with the core skills to set the business up for success first and foremost. They are also the businesses understanding where your organization and team are. So create or lean into some kind of success framework. Use data. You can then use data to create accountability and drive action. Content matters. Cover this briefly. Make sure training is simple, actionable. You should be able to start seeing results immediately. Ask that question. What are we going to see from day one? So much leadership development gets overcomplicated, too lengthy and protracted, based on too much theory, and doesn't drive enough change. Check implementation. Just said it. I'm going to say it again. It's important. What do people need to do? When? How are they supported? And what mechanisms are in place to help them in real time? You know, that's the truth of leadership. The challenges are not in the training sessions. They're normally what goes on outside of the room. And lastly, we need more change makers. So please believe change is possible, and that you can become a catalyst for change by making an impact in the lives of the people you work with at the same time as driving organizational performance. The two do not have to be separated. Soft skills can drive hard results if you do it in the right way. So part 2, we have built strong foundations. The next thing to do is ensure that it's not all about being here today and gone tomorrow. We've all been there. It's a mistake that many people are making. Over time, the impact of the work they did, those amazing programs, fizzles out. And sometimes that's within months, sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's a year down the line, and you're back to square one. You wonder why you bothered. We have to stop thinking and believing in short-term solutions. They don't work. They are sticking plasters, tick box exercises. It's old school thinking. What we need to do is create long-term sustainable growth in order to get the results we need. And that's how you improve performance. That's how you develop the skills you need. That's how you drive measurable outcomes and hard results. And so we're going to spend some time today looking at the 2 key shifts that have proved fundamental to getting the results you're here to get. And to do that, you'll need to be both strategic in your approach, and you will need to be able to build sustainably. And that's how to build lasting results and to drive change. So now we're going to go through both of those. So let's take the first one first. So in order to be strategic, you need 2 things. You need a growth framework. I mentioned this earlier, but now I'm going to go deeper. It's the key driver. And we also need a continual improvement. This is a mouthful. Continual improvement approach. That's what I'm trying to say. So a growth framework is about being clear what you're trying to achieve, which starts with understanding high performance. So what creates high performing teams and how to achieve it. So when I work with clients, I use a high performing teams framework, and we use it to understand where a team is at any given point in time. We know every team has the ability to perform to its potential when it performs well in 5 key areas: communication, relationships, alignment, execution, and capacity. Yet the average team performs at less than 60% of its potential. And the reason for that is that most teams focus in mainly on alignment and execution. So we focus on, what do we need to do? Have we done it? I've been there myself. Guilty as charged. Yet the foundation to success is when teams do well with communication and relationships, because that's what builds trust. And only when you have relational trust do you get alignment, high levels of alignment. So the high performing teams framework is what I use with clients. And we start by identifying exactly how teams are doing against this, because then we know where we are, we can see the gaps, but we also have a goal. And the whole idea, it works like a flywheel, and you have to unlock capability in that order. So you've got to have communication, relationships, you've got to have that trust in place before you get really strong alignment. You've got to have strong alignment before you get really good execution, and you've got to have really good execution before you move into that capacity place. And capacity is really all about, are we doing the future thinking stuff? Are we being strategic, innovative? Are we developing our people? Are we coaching? Are we developing our talent pipeline? And it also, using the framework, often reveals the difference between teams and shows where the work is needed most. allowing you to become more targeted in your approach over time. And it's based on 72 individual criteria across 5 areas of high-performing teams. When you use a growth framework, basically you've got a destination in mind. In this case, unlocking the potential of your people with a measure on how close or not you are to achieving that. And with that in place, you focus on continual improvement. So driven by data, and this is real data that tracks real client results, you track performance, you create accountability, you measure results. You get to decide how often you track performance. When you measure, you recalibrate, you use the data to determine the next best step on your growth journey. Gather the data, use the data, include your people, agree next steps and timing. So you see, there's no start and stop. It's a journey. It's one of like continually raising the bar, continual improvement, but one that allows you to start in the right place with a clear destination in mind, focusing on the right things and really building from there. And the great thing about it is that the journey works in line with your timings and your budget. You go as fast or as slow as you want to. And it's different for every team, different start points, different effort. And I've just gathered up some data, anonymous data, I'll let you know, from some of the teams and businesses I've been working with. But here are some client examples. These teams focused on establishing their foundations. They used the team performance framework. They went deep on communication, relationships, and building trust. And yes, they turned the dial on those 3 areas, but look at the impact this has on alignment, execution, and capacity. So remember what I said, when you improve communication, you strengthen relationships, you build relational trust. With that in place, alignment improves, execution improves, capacity improves. So it works but it only works when they put in the work. It works for the teams and the team leaders who put in the work. The only time it doesn't work for my clients is when they don't do the work. Like there's no shortcuts. So I told you there's 2 things essential to success: strategy and sustainability. So now we're going to look at sustainability. We're looking for long-term cost efficiency, sustainability, growth, and hard results. And there are 2 key areas to focus on in order to achieve this. One is building internal capability, and second is becoming self-directed. So getting to a place where you become largely self-supported. So building internal capability means you have to make that shift from external support and repetition of the same programs by external providers to identify and build a team of internal champions. Depending on the size of your business, you can start with 1 or 2 people. But when you look at the business case, it makes total sense. What we do is we introduce what we call catalysts, and catalysts are internal team members who become accredited to deliver some of our programs, but who understand the system and the processes, and they drive it from the inside. When you then support them with online systems to support, to refresh, or even to provide content, as let's say, for example, the basis for an induction program, you can create repeatable solutions that make it simple and effective for you to bring new people into your business, bring them up to speed, support them with the basics, while any investment that you're making is on next progression. So you see where I'm going with all of this. So this is about how do we continually raise the bar rather than stay stuck in the same place, repeating the same old stuff year after year, and at best, staying in the same place, as well as keeping your people connected. There's nothing worse than going into an organization, the training's been done, you've missed it, and you've no idea what people are talking about. So you've got to be able to keep this stuff alive, current and relevant, and include everyone who joins a business. And then the ultimate goal for any organization is to become self-directed. It's to equip leaders with the tools to identify and work on their own gaps, right? Utopia. Give them access to their own analysis, establish their current baseline, and work and let team leaders work with their teams, gather the data when they want to, review the data, work with their teams, and figure out what they need to do next to drive performance. to assign actions to teams or team members, to undertake unlimited assessments or check-ins and track performance over time. This stuff shouldn't be like one-time annual events. It shouldn't be one-time annual engagement surveys, or it should be a continual improvement process with the access to the tools to be able to do those check-ins and track performance whenever a team leader needs to, and to tap into central catalyst support where needed. And this is where you're really starting to create a leadership culture. The leader as a self-propelled coach for their people. The whole premise is to create this shift from high support to self-support. And of course, it means people like me talking myself out of a job, but our focus has to be on results needed, not a continual cycle of just repeating, delivering training after training. You get bored, I get bored of it. And so look, on to our very last. So there's a new world out there that focuses on knowing where you are, having content that delivers impact, is memorable, drives change, but which is also strategic in its approach, that gets you from high support to self-support and delivers results and return on investment. So we've covered the three fundamentals. We've covered clarity, content, change, the three things you need to get right and have in place before you do anything. And we've covered long-term growth and hard results, touching on being strategic and sustainable in our approach. We have to stop thinking and believing in short-term solutions. They're sticking plasters, they aren't serving us. We need to shift towards long-term growth solutions. We have to stop believing you can't create transformation or get measurable results or output or ROI when you develop your people. It's old school thinking, and it starts with a plan. It starts with understanding where you are now, building self-belief in your business, building self-belief in yourself, and building belief in your business, that there is a new way to build capability, a way that will provide measurable outcomes and the ability to track progress and target support where needed. So we've covered a lot here. So how do we start? Let's just recap. Let's go back to the start. We've been through everything you need to do. I've shared it all. Creating clarity, the right content that gets the right traction, that drives action, that gets you immediate results, that starts driving accountability for change and is embedded through practice and support. How the training and content matters, how to ensure you get traction and drive change, how the data provides you with a measure of progress and points you what to do next. About strategy, being clear on the end game, using a framework, combining it with data that allows you to focus where you need to achieve those goals, and sustainability that's built through internal upskilling and providing your leaders with the tools and measures to measure their own progress. All in turn taking you from getting started to becoming champions of change, whilst taking you from high support to self-support. And look, as I said, my job is not to get you to like me. I'm here to tell you the truth. My job is not to get you to like me. It'd be good if you did like me, by the way. If you are not investing in developing your people, this is not a sustainable option. But if you are, please stop investing in developing your people and not creating the change. Not creating the change you need. You're wasting your time. If you're running programs that focusing on the top 5%, you are not elevating standards and getting to where you want to be, because you're not focused, you're not building strong, resilient foundations and consistent high standards. If you're not holding your people to account for leadership standards at every level and measuring progress, if you're not building progressively or strategically, you're not building your own capability and reducing reliance on external providers, then you're not going to transform your business in a way that meets the demands of the modern workforce, and you're definitely not going to achieve the outcomes and results, return on investment that you deserve when you invest in developing your people. And that's the truth. And whilst that sounds like a lot, it's really a lot easier than you think to get started. And to do that, you have to start with the key thing that matters. Rome was not built in a day, and neither will be your leadership capability or your results. So what I want to share with you now is where to start. You start with analysis, creating clarity around where your business is right now. From that analysis, you create the insight you need. And from the insight, you know the work you need to do, understanding with a clear understanding of strengths and growth opportunities at an organizational team, and perhaps even, depending on your business, sub-team level. You build a plan, a 12-month plan, and but you keep an eye on the 3-year vision, the longer term. You implement it and you iterate, you rinse and repeat, and that's how you get high-performing leadership teams and culture. And I mentioned earlier, I would share with you how you could get started. And so in the last few minutes, here's an opportunity for anyone who feels they could do with some help to get this off the ground. So whether you want help or you want to know the process, I'm going to share with you the process, which you can take away. Or if you need help, I'll share with you how you can get help. The truth is, it all starts with data. The key to growth is to know where you are so you can do the right work based on your individual organizational needs. And if that's something you would like help with, in the next few minutes, I'm going to be sharing with you exactly what you need to do and how I can help you gain clarity on exactly where you are now, so you can understand the work you need to do so that you can build the right plan. Even if you don't, then you might still find this helpful. You will still find this helpful. What am I saying? Might. So please stay seated and listen on. I've created some space in my diary this week. No, it's not this week. You'll find if you go into my diary, it's not till next week. It's not till the middle of September, but there is some time in my diary to take calls. If you'd like to discuss how your business, how you can get started, I'm going to go into more detail now, but if you'd like to think about it, there's I'm going to close my diary down after 10 slots a book because I can't handle any more than that. But there is time in my diary if you want to take one of those slots to discuss your particular situation. This might be for you if you'd like me to help you build a plan and show you the sustainable process that builds your leadership capability and generates hard results on your investment. I've opened up my calendar. Just use the QR code. I can help you get the clarity you need to get started. So together, we can establish exactly where you are. We can establish the best approach to strategically drive you forward. I only have 10 slots available for calls, and I'm not taking any more clients in September. And I have currently space for 2 more clients in October and 2 or 3 in November. And for my first 3 clients who sign up as a result of this masterclass, I'll be delivering a free bonus Kickstarter implementation workshop to help you get to a flying start, help you get off to a flying start, and help you address a key issue that comes up in the analysis. So if you're interested in a conversation, please use the QR code, or look, just feel free to message me directly on LinkedIn, and I'll send you my calendar link. But together, we can build a success plan that shows you where you are now, your strengths and gaps at a team level, identifying the quick wins and where to focus, that shows you what the plan for the next 12 months should look like based on your data, your timeframes, your budget, and then how to build strategically over time, building that long-term capability that I talked about and reducing your reliance on external providers and people like me. For me, it's about trust. You'll be blown away at the level of insight and answers to your questions that you may have been pondering for a while. And then if you like what I share with you and how I can help you, then you may choose to work with me beyond that preliminary discovery phase. But the initial phase, there's no commitment beyond that. Let's just get you some insight into where you are now and the work you need to do. So we help you de-risk the whole process. You simply start with a small piece of consulting work and we build a plan from there. So I can help you build that long-term path to growth and success, to transformation, results, and return on investment. And as part of the discovery phase, you will have 1 month's access to our online platform to complete all the assessments, pro-level personality profiling for everyone at every level, insights into how personality and the people in your organization will be shaping the strengths and challenges of your business by identifying default hiring patterns, leadership styles, strengths and challenges, where conflict is most likely to occur. That's always an interesting one. As we identify potential risks and gaps based on people, hiring, and all those lovely things I just talked about. Team performance analysis. So you determine the teams. We'll provide you with the analysis, the insight, and the quick wins. We'll assess how each team is doing at a micro level with everything you need to go away and take action. We'll build you out a 12-month growth plan built on everything we discovered from the initial discovery phase, and a 3-year strategic plan that gives you just a framework to be able to move towards a sustainable self-supporting solution and reducing your long-term reliance on external providers. Now, bootcamp sessions will take you on a journey of discovery as we share the findings in a 2-hour session. Our boot camps are in high demand as they take the guesswork out of any investment you want to make in your people and give you the tools you need to measure performance, create accountability, and deliver results. Who wouldn't want that? Basically de-risking the whole process and getting you the results that you need. So we understand your people are important. So we help you gather the right information, understand your current capability, identify some quick wins bespoke to each team leader, give you a framework, a system, a process, and all the tools needed to drive your people growth and unlock your business potential, and clarity on what you need to do in the next 12 months to 3 years to achieve your goals, grow your people, build your capability, and go from high support to self-support, and ultimately a chance for me to partner with you on the journey should you wish to do so. Or take what you've got following the bootcamp session. There's loads of stuff in there. There'll be loads of stuff in there with plenty of quick wins for you to go away and action, even if you choose not to go any further or to work with me any further beyond that. So, and lastly, here is the link. Grab some time in the diary. Look, just book an intro call, either to discuss a discovery bootcamp, or if you're not there yet, that's fine too, just to talk through where you're at, what you're trying to achieve, and what help you need. Doesn't matter what your budget is. We've got all sorts of solutions. Sometimes I know it's really hard to get started. I know budgets are really challenging. So let's talk through what the best fit is. Beyond what I've talked about here today, I've got lots of other solutions and ways I can help. All you need to do is book a call. If there aren't any slots that suit, connect with me on LinkedIn or simply send me an email. Here's my email address. There's my profile is on LinkedIn. I think most of us here, most people tend to come via LinkedIn, but if you're not connected, please do connect. Don't follow because you won't be able to send me a message, but connect with me. I'll accept the connection request. Look, together we have to play a part in raising standards. We have to stop wasting time, stop wasting effort, stop avoiding getting started and doing the work we know we need to do, and stop letting our people down. Unleash your business potential by improving capability, creating leaders people want to work for, teams they want to be part of, and a culture they want to work for. Those that aren't doing it are going to be rapidly left behind. Improve